We have live images of Gaza and of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ordering what he calls a complete siege in Gaza after declaring war on Hamas. This is after the Palestinian militant group Hamas launched a surprise attack over the weekend, resulting in the deadliest day in Israel's history. Protesters in U.S. cities reacting to the fighting overseas. Many Israeli American and Palestinian Americans raising their voices over the conflict that has killed hundreds and wounded thousands in the Middle East. So joining me now is U.S. Democratic strategist Rania Batrice, who is also a first-generation Palestinian-American. Rania, thank you so much for joining us. And first of all, you were supposed to be in that region today. So how are you and your family members?
So far, everybody is safe, thankfully. But again, that's just so far, obviously, minute by minute. Every time one of those WhatsApp messages doesn't go through, there's a lot of concern because, like I was saying, every moment things are changing.
That's a terrifying way to proceed. So have you been able to contact your family, though, and speak with them at all, even if it's through WhatsApp?
Some of them, yes. Colleagues, some of my friends and colleagues over there, it's been a little bit harder to reach. And obviously with Israel shutting power off in Gaza, it makes it even more difficult. So it's been very spotty, to say the least.
Yeah. And over the weekend, Democrat Minnesota Representative Ilhan Omar called on the international community to provide protections for Palestinians. So what do you think those protections should look like?
Well, first and foremost, the fact that a government can shut off electricity, stop water from being delivered, stop supplies and food from being delivered, basically with the touch of a button, just is a direct reflection of the occupation, oppression, and apartheid that's been taking place for decades in the country. So I think that's what she's referring to, at least in part. And, the people that are literally caught in the crossfires are civilians who were already suffering, who were already oppressed, whose homes in a lot of situations have been demolished and were not allowed to be rebuilt. So already an exacerbated situation that's going to be even worse with this regime in Israel basically saying they're going to starve folks out. They don't care about civilians, and it's playing out right in front of our eyes right now.
And how are Palestinian Americans viewing this attack on Israel by Hamas?
I think the frustrating thing for me is, and for many of us, quite frankly, is two things can be true at once. We can condemn Hamas and hate their actions and understand that they do not represent us and our people, and also acknowledge and condemn this extreme government. This is arguably the most extreme government we've ever seen from the state of Israel, the most homophobic, the most xenophobic, the most misogynistic. So two things can be true at once. And I think that is in large part the way my community feels, is suffering is suffering. Humanity seems to be lost, and folks are digging in their heels on all sides. And the fact of the matter is, it's the people who are suffering while the powers that be continue to do everything they can to just hold on to that power while hurting civilians.
Mm-hmm. In your opinion, what makes diplomacy so difficult? I mean, what could help ease this conflict, in your opinion?
Well, the fact that Israel is the only country in the world that receives nearly $4 billion from our government with zero conditions, zero checks or balances. And now you have our president saying that he's going to continue sending more and more. There's no motivation to actually sit down and negotiate in good faith. There hasn't been for decades. And for the record, it's not just this administration in the United States that's failed so miserably. It's every administration for the last 75 years that's all but ensured this conflict continues and escalates.
All right, Rania Batrice, thank you so much for sharing your perspective and your time with us. We truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.